Everybody, Lieutenant Joe Pangaro here for the Blue Heart podcast. So it's been a while since we got together and had a little bit of a hiatus here, some personal things going on that we're working our way through. But I wanted to just talk for a couple of minutes about some of the things we're seeing in law enforcement on a national scale. So we're seeing the deployment of ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers, Border Patrol, and the military being deployed to places where there's all kinds of crime that the local governments cannot seem or desire to handle. So this has been extremely successful. We have seen in Washington, D.C., they've gone, it sounds crazy, right? But 2 weeks without a murder. Well, that's an amazing thing. And it points out very, very clearly that a law enforcement presence where the officers are not just taking up space, where their hands are not tied, where they're allowed to enforce the law and protect the innocent is extremely effective. We look and we see, you say, 14 days, no murders, in a place where there are murders every single day. And we see some politicians jumping up and down and screaming and hollering, saying, this is a political stunt. This is done for all kinds of ridiculous reasons. It is done to protect the public from criminals. In the last couple of years, we have really lost our way when it comes to understanding, protect and serve and take care of the public, do what we are sworn to do. And it's exciting to see a very clear example of when police officers are given the tools and the ability, and they're backed up by whoever it is that's leading them, in this case, the federal government, to go out and fight crime. You see how the number of crimes come down. When they say there's been no murders in DC in 2 weeks, do you realize that could be 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 people, American citizens that are alive today that would be in their graves had they not enforced the law and gone out there and forced to go against the criminal element, whoever they are. And we hear these politicians trying to lay it off on, it's a racist attack this, it's a racist attack that. We all know in law enforcement, we don't attack people because of their race, their color, their skin, their religion. We go where the crime is. And that takes us into every neighborhood in America. All right. And the fact that Washington, D.C. was so dangerous that we see the residents of all these communities, these politicians are trying to come up with, it's an attack on different people. You see what the residents are saying. Thank God the cops are here. Thank God we can walk through our neighborhood. We can go to the train station without being molested, without having people attacking us, without people killing us. This is a good thing. And I think it makes the case that I think we all know that proactive law enforcement done appropriately is what makes communities safe, right? We can say all we want. You see the mayor of Chicago, where the government's talking about going next. Because Chicago, how many American citizens are raped, robbed, and murdered every week in Chicago? And the mayor there, his answer to it is, we need more housing. Housing would bring crime down. Are you out of your mind? And this is what I just don't understand. And I'm not taking a political stand here. What I'm trying to say is it's a mindset. You have people that are willing to commit crimes. And if you do not make it difficult for them to commit crimes, if you do not hold them accountable for committing crimes, what are they going to do? Well, human nature says very clearly they're going to commit more crimes. When you go out there, when you, the men and women of law enforcement, go into a community, figure out where the crime is, and then you go there, you patrol properly, you make arrests where it's appropriate, you hold people accountable and you charge them, and then the prosecutor's office follows through with prosecution. The message gets out very, very quickly that those who are going to victimize other people are going to be held accountable and they're going to pay the consequences for their actions. That makes for a safer society. All this other nonsense that, if we're just nice to people, if we let shoplifters go because they need diapers, that's nonsense. What do we see when people are shoplifting? They're shoplifting anything they can resell. They're not getting diapers for their children. If people need basic essentials, we have programs for that. Now, do we need to look at those programs maybe and supply more things to people who are really in need? Maybe we do. But to excuse criminal activity by saying, well, we have to overlook it when people are clearing out stores so that the people that own the stores cannot afford to run their store because all their merchandise goes out the door and nobody's held accountable, well, then that business is going to close. And sometimes that happens in neighborhoods who really need these facilities, right? So we have to be careful what we're doing as a society. But the reality is this: if there is no law enforcement, if the men and women who put on the uniform, walk the beat, patrol the city streets, and walk the tiers of our jails, if they are not allowed to do their job proactively and aggressively to go after criminals, our society will suffer as it has been suffering. So this whole reaction by the federal government to go into Washington, D.C. and clean it up is a good thing for the residents of Washington, D.C., all of them, everybody who lives there, for the visitors who come there, for the people who have to go to Washington, D.C. to not get raped and robbed and murdered. And this goes the same for all of our cities. Now, do we want to have bail reform? Do we want to do something? But not holding people accountable, just letting them get locked up and get kicked right back out and charges dismissed and charges dropped. That sends a loud message. It tells the criminal element it's okay to commit crime. The cops ain't going to do nothing to you. Matter of fact, if the police arrest you and you fight back, we'll go after the cops. That is a recipe for disaster. And we've seen that happen in our country. It is time to turn the tide, and all of our agencies need to look at how we're doing things. Our municipal governments have to decide the people of our community, everybody in every community deserves to live a safe and secure life. And our police officers, you, the men and women of law enforcement, are ready, willing, and able to go out and do the job that you took an oath to do. And I know you do it. It was what I did my entire career. I loved it. I thought it was important, and we need it now more than ever. So this is Lieutenant Joe for the Blue Heart Podcast telling you, hey, like, subscribe, tell your friends about this. This is important that we stand together on the blue line. Until the next time, my friends, be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem.